Donata ground handlers who service airlines, including Qantas, will strike for 24 hours. The Transport Workers Union is demanding more guaranteed hours for part-time workers and pay increases.
We're taking action. It's not solely all about money. It's about safety aspects and job security. We need to provide job security for everyone to continue on working here at the airport.
Ground handling workers from the major airport services provider Donata have called off strike action after securing a deal for better pay. The Emirates' own company has agreed to introduce job security provisions and give employees a 17% pay rise by 2023.
These workers have stood up and they've achieved a good outcome, an outcome that provides them with some real relief on wages and on job security.
And 96% of those workers voted in favour of taking industrial action, and that's clearly an overwhelming outcome.
What do we want? Safe skies. When do we want it? Now.
Walking off the job for 24 hours, Rivet employees who refuel the majority of Qantas aircraft say they're fed up with their working conditions and their pay rate hasn't moved in nearly 3 years. The union claims Qantas is to blame.
And they push all of their workforce that they can to third-party operators and then squeeze those contracts. And what Rivet is essentially saying to these workers in negotiations is, how do we get the money from Qantas? Qantas just posted a $1.4 billion half-year profit, and these workers haven't had a pay rise for 3 years.
These disruptions are always the last resort, but when you're talking over a 12-month period and nearly 3 years of no pay increase, the workers have been left with no alternative.
The Transport Workers Union is calling on the federal government to take action after flight cancellations and delays across the country. The TWU wants an independent tribunal to address structural issues in the aviation industry, including staffing, wages and outsourcing.
The Transport Workers Union says these delays were always going to happen because the airlines don't have enough staff.
Flights cancelled at the last minute. It's just unacceptable, completely avoidable in most cases.
The big problem here is that casualisation and low wages isn't attracting the staff that they need to be able to do the job.
People are walking away because of poor pay, poor conditions, poor safety standards. That's going to drive people away.
A serious airline safety breach has grounded a Qantas Dreamliner with a baggage trailer smashing into the plane on the tarmac.
This frightening accident came about as a result of staff shortages and staff exhaustion. Qantas axed 2,000 ground staff last year, outsourcing baggage handling to a company called Swissport.
They made a decision to make their existing and their experienced staff unemployed and outsourced to casualised and inexperienced labour. And these are the effects that you're going to get.
Qantas pilots have made a rare mayday call during a flight to Perth. They'd been left in a holding pattern when they began running out of fuel. The Transport Union has blamed airline staff shortages and chronic airport delays, saying it could have been a disaster.
This is just one more nail in the coffin of Alan Joyce. And it's time that he left.
We've got a situation where we've now got Choice awarding Qantas its Shonky Award for its shocking customer service performance over the last 12 months. Now we've got the great shareholder swindle, where the choice is either give the CEO $4 million of shares or give him $4 million of cash. And the only people that Qantas is successfully representing are the senior executives who get multi-million-dollar pay packages regardless of the outcome.
So you've got to fix that. There are so many problems that's built into this model of Alan Joyce that we really need to have an independent body look at all of this and come up with proper recommendations that can take us forward.
The High Court will decide once and for all whether Qantas illegally sacked 1,700 workers during the pandemic. The Transport Workers Union, TWU, and the airline have been to the federal court twice before, with Qantas losing both times.
In essence, we'll be saying that the Fair Work Act is designed to protect workers, allow them to exercise their workplace rights, not give companies like Qantas open slather to sack workers and prevent them from exercising those rights.
Damien Pollard worked as a Qantas baggage handler for about 12 years, but he lost his job in 2020 when the company outsourced his role, along with that of 1,700 other workers.
Obviously affected mental health. It broke a lot of hearts.
He's hoping that the High Court will uphold the decision that the airline acted illegally, taking advantage of the COVID-19 pandemic to sack workers.
It was a window of opportunity to get rid of a unionised workforce.
If they win on their case, they will reduce protections for all workers across Australia.
The government is watching this case very closely and says it will act if necessary.
We'll be pursuing immediately legislative change to make sure that every Australian, our kids and our neighbours, have the protections that we expect.
A recent survey found 92% of pilots were worried that bad rosters could lead to unsafe flying. 88% said they're concerned about fatigue. And more than half said inconsistent rosters are putting pressure on pilots to work even when they're tired or worse, unfit to fly.
If we can have every job being retained through better conditions, experience will increase the smooth operation. No one wants to get airborne wondering whether the aircraft is loaded correctly.
So that we can not only improve pilots' conditions and wages, but also improve below the wing, all the ground handlers, check-in staff, I mean, everybody in this industry.
The aviation sector is in crisis. We will aggressively fight to make this industry better.